All right, I already pulled up Claude, and first thing we need to prime him a little bit. Hey Claude, you are an excellent copy. So I always give him first a lot of resources which I go into. So he's primed, he's learned, he actually knows all the secrets that I would personally write them with. And then second, I ask him to ask me for my info about my target audience, so who I want to write these hooks for. Okay, let's do it. Let's keep it in English for the video. Okay, so I already pulled up some stuff from online. Number one, I have one old school book, which is considered one of the best ones for copywriting, which is a Robert Collier leather book. You can just find them online if you just Google, for example, the best 10 copywriting books, and you then Google for PDF download. You just find them online, then you can feed them in there. You could potentially also do deep research before here in order and tell him like, hey, find the best books and analyze them for me. But it usually takes time, or a lot longer. So I usually just prepare everything. Then I have another list I found online, or I actually use for myself. I have this in my copywriting thing I pull up every time I write some copies. Those are just like 100 of the best headlines. And then what else I have, which I personally use as well if I start writing copy without AI. These are just, I don't know how many, maybe like 30, 40 of, no more, maybe 100 actually, of the best ads from this guy named Eugene Schwartz. And he's one of the best copywriters, and he wrote this book, Breakthrough Advertising, which is like, again, one of the best ones for copywriting, with some really foundational concepts like market awareness, sophistication levels, which he came up with. And I have just a few of his ads, like these old school ads, and I'm just going to pump them into Claude to analyze them and to really understand them. Just a few. Okay, that's too much then. Let's do it batch by batch. Okay, let's try a few more. Okay. Okay, let's have him analyze all of that. Okay, perfect. So he really understood it, especially like really the foundations, like to sell transformations, Stop the scrolling, promise something big. The mechanism, proof stack, incredible. So okay, so he really understood it now. He's primed. I'm just always telling him to remember everything so he doesn't forget it. So I already pulled up a worksheet for my own audience. So in this case, I would write some hooks for selling my own services to coaches and consultants that want to scale their business through meta ads and stuff like this. There, boom. And I have like an extensive page with all the information, like what pains they have, what desires they have. And I just keep one of these. Analyze my audience. So he really understands who I'm talking to, because again, writing hooks, they have to be extremely specific and relevant to your audience. So having this ready does amazing work. Okay, he already remembered everything. Okay, right. Yeah, so this is the audience I'm using for my case. Again, the coach that is not able to grow. They tried some things, but they're usually on a roller coaster of revenue. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Then they have to text like 70 people every single day, and they can't get enough leads. Real pain. I'm messaging 7 people. Some months are great, some are disasters, and I have no idea which one the next one. I can't go on holidays. I can't stop grinding. The business owes me. All right. So deep pain. I told everyone I was going to scale to 100K. That was a year ago. I'm in the same place, and I don't know if it actually takes if I actually have what it takes. Okay, amazing. So you see all the informations are in there, what they're actually buying. All right, and now let's write hooks. I would preferably do hooks on different topics. So again, you don't really know in the beginning what kind of angle will work the best. And maybe before we write the hooks, we figure out what the angles are. And then once I have these 5 angles, then I start writing 5 hooks for each angle. Okay? Because then what I can do is I can just test over a course of like 1 or 2 weeks. I can just test them all, and then I can go back and reflect on what worked and what did not work. And then there's a very high probability that I found the winning angle. And once I found this winning angle, I can start, for example, going to Claude or just sitting down and be like, okay, this is the winning angle. This is what people actually click on. That is the reason people buy from this angle. And then I can start really exploiting this and be like, hey, this is the winning angle. Give me 25 more hooks that I can use for that angle. And then you just start optimizing this. Okay. So this one is already pretty good. And amazing entry, what it actually does. And then you can start first explaining a little bit by all the solutions they tried before and why more messaging does not work. And then you go into the cause of this, like why is this actually happening and why is this not working? And then you have a unique problem, and then you can start selling your new solution / your new mechanism. And tell them, hey, there's a different path, there's a better way. This is why it hasn't worked, and this is why it will work if you try this one. Oh, this one is so real. I've heard this from my clients and other people before so many times. They try to book appointment setters and people that do the outreaching for them, but most of them quit super fast. They are already pretty amazing. I would probably tweak them a little bit so they sound more natural, and how I would probably speak them and how the target audience speaks. But most of them are pretty good starts to start testing them. This is, again, so true. I notice, again, from my clients, they all tell me they want freedom and they start this, but then they just have to work and grind and haven't taken real vacation in I don't know how many years. Boom. This one is amazing too. They really hit. They really hit hard. This one, such a deep pain. This one is okay. I mean, I might not would put all of this into the hook. I would probably explain this a little bit longer and more, because this one here, you have a message clarity problem. This would be essentially my unique mechanism. What will give them hope, because they've tried everything else, nothing worked. They bought different coaching programs, and then I tell them like, hey, the real reason all of this did not work is because your message is not clear enough. And hearing this, that there's a different method, there's a new way, that will give them hope and essentially will drive them actually towards taking action and continue to reading. They're okay, this one, but these ones were actually all really nice. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They're already incredible, and now I could just go on and give myself more ideas, but I would probably start just testing them. and working off of them, starting to tweak them a little bit, write them in my own words, adjust them a little bit so it makes sense, and to then write the full ads. But you could already start immediately taking them and putting them into like real ads.